Hello everyone, this is Lando Norris and we're on Beyond the Grid.
Hi everyone, we're back. Yes, welcome to Season 3 of Beyond the Grid. My name's Tom Clarkson and it's great to have you with us for another year of revealing conversations with the biggest names in racing. We've got some great guests coming up with some truly great stories to tell. And my first guest is absolutely no exception. He's a driver who's only entering his second season of Formula One, yet he's already one of the sport's most popular drivers. He's developed a cult following with fans on social media, his quirky quit-wit proving to be a hit with all ages. And that's to say nothing of his speed in a racing car. Only a year ago, he was making his Formula One debut in Melbourne, aged just 19. He acquitted himself well, getting into Q3 at Albert Park, and he went on to establish himself as quick and consistent, playing an integral part in securing McLaren's fourth place in the Constructors' Championship. His reward was a second season with the team in 2020, in which he'll seek to become part of the F1 establishment. I'm talking, of course, about Lando Norris. Lando and I caught up on the final day of pre-season testing in Barcelona. He was in typically relaxed and amusing form. In fact, in 20 plus years in Formula One, I don't think I've had a conversation with a driver similar to this one. Yes, we spoke about how his McLaren is shaping up for 2020, but we delved into so many other areas as well, including his love of gaming, his unusual upbringing, his relationships with other drivers, and his rather extreme approach to cleaning the house. I kid you not. I hope you enjoy it. Lando, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to have you on. The new season's just around the corner. Before we get started, there's an interesting pile of food sat in front of you.
Which I've not eaten.
Which you have not eaten. I seem to do a lot of these interviews with people eating Daniel Ricciardo, but he was eating chips, interestingly. That's a lot more healthy, isn't it? What is it, a bit of chicken?
It's chicken skewers with some sweet potato, some vegetables and a little side salad.
And who dictates what you have for lunch? Are you able to choose, or is it all quite strict?
I have my preferences, which is normally a chicken wrap with rice and guacamole. I go through a huge quantity of wraps. This is not on my favorites list, but sometimes you just gotta not have what you always want, because I'll get bored of wraps eventually. So I have to sometimes give myself something I don't necessarily like. So when I go back to having a wrap, it's glorious. my trainer pretty much decides, or doesn't decide, but he gives me a whole list of things I can choose from that I should have. But this is all cold now. I just had a meeting in the truck, and this has been sitting in front of me for at least an hour.
Oh, okay. So it might do another hour.
But I've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah.
And I probably will be now, so it's going to be in front of me for another hour.
Well, look, you look in good shape. They always say fitness is cumulative.
Yeah.
How much better shape are you in now compared to 12 months ago, coming into your first season?
I think a lot better. The main thing is how I've done in the last few days. And one of the biggest things everyone struggles with is neck around here. After doing so many laps.
We're in Barcelona. It's the last day of the second pre-season test. And the neck's been standing up to these G-forces.
Test one, no. Test one, by the end of it, I was struggling. I did the race run and everything. And I did a decent amount in the gym, not every single day going at it, but what I needed to do, what my trainer said, you need to do this amount of days and so on. So I've done all of that. So I was feeling good, but I don't even think if you train every day, you're not going to go into day one of driving a Formula One car after a winter break and be fine. It's just the way of how driving a car works. You just can't replicate it by someone pulling on your neck and sitting off the side of your bed doing neck exercises, because you don't have the whole force on your body and your shoulders. You're not in the same position. You can replicate it as much as you want, but you're not driving a Formula One car until you're driving a Formula One car.
And these are quicker than last year, right?
They are.
Is it noticeable on your body? The forces going through?
It is. And I think for us, obviously, we had, compared to Mercedes, I'm sure they struggle to make I'm hoping they can't take as much of a step forward as what we should be able to, let's say. And we want to be getting closer to them. So we should be the ones getting much quicker in the corners, which you do notice physically, because you go from doing your qualifying runs, or you do practice runs, you go on new tires, low fuel, cornering speeds go up. You feel it physically straight away. You know, you're going 5-10k quicker in the corners, especially around here, turn 3, turn 1, turn 4, medium and high speed corners, and you feel it straight away. So I imagine for Mercedes, who go even quicker, physically you do need to be stronger to drive a Mercedes than another car. But and for us, we've taken a step forward in those medium and high speed corners, so physically it is tougher. But day one I struggled, and everyone struggled on the grid. I mean, even people who have been in it for 10 years and know what to expect and how it's going to be. Vettel, Lewis, Max, Ricciardo. You see all of them after lunchtime, their necks they're saying hello to the headrests very often. And so was mine, like being honest, so was mine. But this week I'm much better. Like after recovering and just getting the first week out of the way, the first few days, letting your body recover after getting used to how everything works again. I did my race run, I did all the quali runs, and I was good. I didn't touch the headrest once, which I'm kind of proud of.
Yay!
Because I'm not the biggest. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the strongest. I know that. And you see all the other drivers who say they're in the gym every day and they're the fittest they've ever been, and they're leaning their necks on every single corner.
So look, that's the physical differences, right?
Yes.
Between last year and this year. But as you come into year 2, how does it feel mentally in terms of, you know the score, you know the media now, you know how it works, you know how to get the best out of the team. And with that, is there more pressure to perform?
There's a different pressure. There's less pressure altogether. Less pressure that I put on myself. I think last year I put a lot of pressure on myself. Because I didn't know how I was going to do. I did well in some testing and everything, but that's not the actual race weekend.
But that must have lessened after Melbourne. You had that
straight away after Melbourne.
Q3
it went down.
in Melbourne. Yeah.
And I felt much better. Then I did Bahrain, had a much better race.
Yeah.
Then I had in Australia, even better. So I had a very good first 2 races to give myself a lot of confidence, which I think helped massively. But I put a lot of pressure on myself, not knowing what to expect. Now I know what to expect. I don't need to put that pressure on myself. I didn't need to put it on before, but I was putting it on myself. So now I feel much better for my own well-being. But then at the same time, there's always pressure from just being a Formula One driver.
You kind of have to be on
working for
form
McLaren
the whole time, don't you?
Yes.
You can't have a bad day.
No.
Is that true?
I mean, you obviously can, but
you have to mask a bad day very well.
Yeah, you need to come up with the excuse book for I just feel like we didn't start the weekend off right, and that led to not working on the setup as well as we should have done.
Is that exhausting though? That feeling of you get on the plane to go to a race, and you know that from the moment you arrive to the moment you leave on Sunday night, people are looking at you, people are listening to every word you say, people are judging every sector you do on a racetrack.
No, I think that is there, but we're still humans. We make mistakes sometimes. It's expected. Of course, being last year in my first year, it was expected more so. So you have a bit more leeway to make those mistakes, and if it does happen, don't worry, don't do it again. But I'm more confident in myself, and I know I will do a better job. But it is, it's Formula One. There is pressure. There's always going to be pressure, no matter if you're in your. I'm sure for Lewis, there's still pressure. There's still some expectation for him to do well and so on. But I think you just get a bit used to it, and it becomes the norm. So then you don't feel it eventually in certain ways.
And how has your understanding of speed and how to make the car go quick evolved?
It's much better actually, especially my understanding for the car and how it works, because F1 cars are so complicated, it's insane.
And how to make them go fast?
In terms of setup wise and everything. the differences from a bumpy track to a smooth track and how the car operates. There's always a little window for how the car perfectly operates, and you always want to try and get it in that window for different tracks. And sometimes you can't, and you have to adjust your driving style to suit that. So the understanding for how the car needs to be driven and set up and so on, and my ideas and knowledge for the setup and what, I can now say, I think we should try this, because I remember when we did that last year, that was a good step forward. So I have some memories and things I can look back on and say, we have to do this, or this worked last time, and so on.
Do you keep a notebook?
No.
Well, do you go to a race and
I always bring a notebook. I ended up writing nothing in it. But I want to, no, I mean, we do. I don't have my own notebook, but
and I'm sure
we have our own chat, and we always write anything that I come up with or I have an idea for, or they do, we put in the chat and we discuss it next time we see each other. So I guess we got a social notebook.
So are you now more demanding as a racing driver in terms of Will Joseph, your race engineer? Yeah. If he was sat in this chair here, would he be nodding, saying yes, he is more demanding?
Yes, I was, but not obviously in a bad way. I'm not saying I'm arrogant or anything like that. But last year, my first year, I didn't have the knowledge of those guys in a lot of areas. So in a lot of circumstances, when they're saying, I think we should do this, I was agreeing to it. I'm like, yeah, boxes lap. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do that, because that's what they think is the best at that time, and so on. So there was a lot of yeses. I was yes man last year. And this year already, in pre-season, they're saying, all right, Lando, box this lap. And I said, no. I feel so bad. No. I'm doing another lap. And I say, no, I didn't feel like I got it right. I need a bit more of a feeling for the setup, or I just want to get turn one right before we go into the qualifying run, or I want to try this or something. So for my own good and for the good for everyone, actually, it's I'm a bit more demanding what I want to do and want to achieve. And it's not just for my own benefit, but I'll do a better job because of it, and then I'll give better feedback on the car because of it, and so on. So yeah, I'm at the point now, and after doing the season, where they also trust me when I say it. It's not like I always get it wrong, and I'm saying yes because I'm arrogant, but I'm saying yes because it's the best thing for me.
So is it fair to say, from a setup point of view,
yeah,
you maybe followed teammate Carlos Sainz a bit last year, and we're going to see you maybe do your own thing a bit more in 2020?
Not completely. Sometimes it was the contrast. Sometimes it was like I would do it, and sometimes I didn't necessarily want the fastest car. I wanted one that I felt good in, and I felt like I could be confident in. Already, like in Australia last year, my first time, Carlos was going with a bit more aggressive one. He felt maybe not so confident with. Maybe he felt confident, but compared to me, I'm like a bit stiffer. I don't want that. I want the confidence on the brakes. I want to be able to push the braking, and I don't want to lose confidence, basically. So I go for a slightly softer setup and so on. And sometimes I'll be the opposite way of what Carlos is going. So you have that, and then you have the other times where I'm like, look, Carlos did that, and it looked like a good step. Let's just do what he's done. And sometimes that's between FP3 and qualifying. Sometimes that's from FP2 to FP3. So I wouldn't say I just followed what they did because it was my first time and I didn't know what to do. I think, and I'm happy with what we did between my engineers and myself, that we always did what we thought was best for us as a team, and for me and my driving.
It's fascinating and fun to hear you talking so technically about the car, because I mean, if I was to say to you, what's the biggest misapprehension about you, the sort of biggest misunderstanding about you, what would it be? Would it be that you're actually very analytical and it's like it goes against the jokey persona that you developed last year? I don't think the outside world hears you talk in such detail about the car and stuff like that. So now's your chance, folks.
It's like, yeah, I think a lot of the time I'm quite broad with things. Like when I say something, I'll say it in a quite simple way to most people. But when I get into something, and it's not just saying something, but say I'm I don't know. I think this is something to compare to. If I'm cleaning the house,
you've just bought a new house, haven't you? So you're obviously still very house proud.
Yes, completely.
So let's talk about cleaning the house.
If I'm cleaning the house, I get into it and I can't stop until for the speaking. I've described everything and I feel like I've transferred it in the best driver feeling way to an engineer who's not driven a Formula 1 car, and he looks at graphs and he tries to judge a car from that. Because it's not, we don't just say, yeah, we got understeer here and I just turn the wheel more and it doesn't grip. We have to try and explain it in a way to a guy who designs it and comes up with these ideas. And, you need to tell them every little bit of detail that maybe puts the car in a certain position, whether it's a few millimeters. That's massive in Formula 1. So it's like, you need to describe everything. And when I get into something, I have to complete it, I have to finish it, I have to do all the details. So when I'm cleaning the house, I can't just start it. Like once I've started, I will spend all night until 3 a.m. or something, probably because I've started at like 12 o'clock and I just had a stupid idea to go, I'm going to start cleaning up. I just can't stop it and go, yeah, I'll leave this for tomorrow. I have to complete it and do everything, and then I go to bed at stupid o'clock, 4 a.m. going...
Having cleaned the house.
I've cleaned it.
That's amazing.
And I come down the next morning, probably knackered, and go... But then I'm happy with myself. And I'm like, nice.
Are you a bit of a night owl?
Oh, completely.
So what I mean, you say you go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that... I was surprised
on a rare occasion that I've decided to clean.
But is it... I mean, are you a midnight? Is it?
Yes, I...
midnight to bed?
Yeah. I mean, actually lately... And so over the winter I was going to bed too late for going back to McLaren, for going back to doing what I love. And for working and operating at my best, I have different times. So I want to spend all night having fun and playing games and whatever. There is no limit to that. That can end up, sometimes that doesn't end. I'll spend the 48 hours doing it. And then
hang on, stop. You really?
Yeah.
Really? 48 hours?
There was...
Non-stop gaming?
48 hours? I would say I wake up at 10 in the morning, have some breakfast, get on the computer for a few hours, have lunch, and pretty much spend, let's say, 2 o'clock until 7, or actually won't be able to, 2 o'clock till 9, I'll have dinner, and then go from 9 till the next day.
What time? All through the night?
7 till 7 a.m.
Till 7 a.m.
Still playing. Breakfast. Then I'll spend all the way till like midnight the next day.
That's extraordinary.
But it's just, I don't know why. It's just, that's how much I enjoy things.
Other 20-year-olds.
I mean, other 20 got them going out at night and coming out at 5 every morning and
you're doing it
being drunk and stuff. So mine's, I'm not getting drunk. I do that very rarely. But I don't enjoy that. Whereas I love doing stuff, and stuff I love doing, I just can't stop doing. So whether it's driving or, designing my helmets or designing my clothing, or coming up with those ideas, or playing games or something, or playing on my computer. Once I'm doing that, I'm just having so much fun. I don't go, I'm getting a bit tired now. The fun overrides all of that, and the enjoyment overrides all of that. And I become a nerd, and I spend however many hours that is.
When you say designing your own clothing,
yeah,
what do you mean by that? I didn't.
Well, I had a bad boy moment where I was like, I just wanted to create my own merch. So I went onto his website and started creating it, and then started selling some stuff, and then got a bit of a telling off from McLaren because I'm not allowed to do that. And was what was the style? I didn't see this. I didn't know you. Well, no one's saw it. After about 1 hour, I got told off.
I thought you said you sold some stuff.
Yeah, I did a couple of things. So I'm a massive hoodie guy. Always hoodies. I don't think you'll ever see me, very rarely, wear a fleece, just a normal jumper that's got no hoodie on. Apart from when I have to dress a bit smarter, then I wear it. But anytime I'm traveling, I'm in casual clothing. From here to the airport in a bit. From anytime you see me traveling, I will not be wearing a normal jumper. I'll always be wearing a hoodie.
because you're trying to hope
No, I just
people don't
love
recognise
hoodies.
you? No, you love hoodie.
They're comfortable. I can't do one with no neck. I don't know. I feel really cold then. My neck feels really cold.
Oh, I see. So the hoodie's not up the whole time. It just
Some of the time. Half the time.
incognito.
Yeah.
Lando Norris.
With my headphones over the top. I still can't work out if I put my headphones under the hoodie or my headphones over the hoodie. Or I just get in-ear Bluetooth headphones. I've not worked that one out yet. But, yeah, no, I'm not good at Photoshop. I'm not good at those kind of things, but I still can create little logos. I mean, I use my logo and I cut it up into a few bits and then kind of put it back together and it looks a bit jagged and so on. And I don't know, it just looks cool and it's a bit of a style and stuff. Or you can do different colours for it. And I just create some stuff.
God, what a pity we can't buy that.
I know, right?
Did you say, well, Lewis can do that?
I don't feel like I have that kind of authority in year one of driving for McLaren compared to a 6-time world champion. I didn't feel like I had the right to do that. But I would love to. Like,
It's really interesting.
I love doing that kind of stuff. That's one of my passions and things I love doing is designing and coming up with my own ideas and stuff like that. And yeah, I just had that, like with the cleaning stuff, this moment where I'm like, I got this idea. I just want to create a jumper and sell it. And then I created jumpers and then some T-shirts. I mean, and phone cases as well. And I can come up with my own designs and, you know, I can transfer it and I can do that kind of stuff. And then I completed it and I was happy with myself that I completed it.
Are you very arty?
I have a keen eye for art. I wouldn't say I'm the best at it. Like when I was in school, I loved art.
Right.
Not, you know, hand painting on a canvas, but more the graphic design, the cool interaction parts, the more fun stuff rather than painting on a canvas. I didn't enjoy that kind of stuff. But the graphic design is probably one of the best ways to say it. Just coming up with some, I don't know, just if I have an idea, I love doing it. I even remember back in school, that's a freaking long time ago.
Hang on, it wasn't that long ago. All right. I assure you it was longer for me.
2011.
Ages ago.
Yeah, back in the day. I went to school with Manuel Maldonado, who is Pastor Maldonado's cousin. And he races in Formula Renault or something now. And I went to school with him, and of course we're like best mates because we knew everything about racing. And just
was he racing?
He was doing,
at the time.
He wasn't doing a lot at the time because I think he just moved from Venezuela or something to England. And he spoke no English. He ended up speaking quite a bit. But
can you speak Spanish?
No, okay. A little bit. But
so how did you communicate with him? How did you communicate with him?
I mean, I couldn't to begin with. Just sign language of cars. Push. And I just got this, like, we created this on a big poster. We coloured in, it sounds really sad now, coloured in like a picture of the Joker, and we traced it from the projector onto this big poster and we coloured it in. And I know it's still really cool. I actually have it at my parents' house. It's still there. But no, we just have there's cool things which I like and I have an interest for, which I love, and I love to keep those things and keep the memories for it. And that's something I love doing since I was really young, and doing some like photography and bits and bobs.
So as a kid, is that what you were good at outside of racing karts and cars?
I don't think I was ever good at it, but I would spend a lot of time doing it, like hours and hours and hours, colouring in, like coming up with helmet designs, not even my own, but just making an idea, or having an idea and coming up with it and stuff. And I spent hours doing that, and I did a lot in school and come up with the drawings and find the bottle and try and draw the bottle, but I was not very good at that. So I stopped that and I found more of the graphic design and coming up with the helmet designs, my suit design, boots. That's when it felt more like what I would create, I'd be wearing, and it felt more part of me rather than drawing a picture of a bottle or something.
I mean, you say when you were at school. I mean, as a guy who did a lot of karting,
Yeah.
how often were you actually at school, and how much of it was homeschooling in the way that Lewis Hamilton was and so many of the karters are?
So I did 1 year of homeschooling in my final year, which was my years of GCSEs. Before that, I hung on as much as I could with being at school and catching up on lost time and so on. But karting then was driving and testing Wednesday, Thursday, racing Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Most weeks, or
Majority of weeks. I would say at least 2 every month. Maybe probably 2,
in
3 every
England,
month.
or were you abroad?
No, this is abroad, international. Mainly Italy, Spain, UK. And that's a lot of time. Wednesday. So I travel Tuesday evening or Tuesday lunchtime. Would have to leave sometimes.
So you did 1.5 days a week.
It was awful. I don't know why would anyone come up with the idea of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday weeks of karting. And this was when I was 12, 13. But it was, kids who are doing that at already like 9, 10 years old. So it's a bad thought process, whoever came up with that. And I think now they've changed it. So it's a lot of the time Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Did you feel you were missing out? Or were you just loving the karting so much?
No, I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything. Of course, I missed out on things. And I missed out on a lot of normal people things and stuff you grow up doing with your friends at school. I've not really kept in contact with any of my friends in school, which is sad. It is kind of a sad thing to think about. But I do feel like I missed out on certain things. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to change it to do anything else.
But what's it like being on the road in Italy, age 12, 13, being homeschooled? So what, you had a teacher come with you in the truck? Or?
No, so I was homeschooled in GCSE time, so 20...
Oh, sorry, you said that, yeah.
I don't know what year that would have been. 2014, 2013. What year? I don't know what year.
But what's it like to be on the road the whole time as a 12, 13, 14-year-old?
I mean, I was loving it because I was missing school. It was great. It was tough. It wasn't all.
Who was in the entourage? Who came with you? Did mum, dad come with
no,
you?
never my mum really, but always my dad and my brother. Like my brother did karting all the way till we started together and did karting till 2014. The year I made the transition I did Ginetta and the World Championships, and before F4 in 2015.
So Ollie, is he the reason you got into cars and karts?
No, it's the opposite.
Because
he's the reason.
There's no racing history in your family, am I right? So how did it all happen?
So I watched it on TV sometimes, and I watched MotoGP. It's the story I actually tell a lot. Is I watched MotoGP before I watched F1 or F2 or anything like that.
Hence Rossi,
and he was the first kind of cool character, which, being 4 or 5 years old, I just loved. It was so cool, and the colours and everything. And he's the guy since that age that I've always looked up to.
And so, sorry to interrupt the train of thought, but when you met Rossi, Valentino Rossi, we're talking about, you went to Silverstone last year, didn't you, to the MotoGP race? What was it like? So he is your hero. If I was to say to you, who is your hero, would you say Valentino Rossi? Right. What was it like to meet him, and what did you say?
What was it like to meet him? Well, it was weird because I'm at the point where, I'm old enough now and like mature enough that you act differently around your heroes than you would have done if I met him when I was 10 and I would have been a massive fanboy and just couldn't stop screaming. Whereas now I'm at the point, I think I was 19 then, and you act more normal. You don't get overexcited and stuff. But I want to say, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't watch him, but he inspired me to do a lot of the things that I've done and to start motor racing and start.
Did you tell him that?
No. What was the first thing I said? How's it going? So boring. It was one of the first things was, so how's it going? Because it was in the middle of the race weekend. It was Sunday morning. They just had warm up. and how's it going? And we decided that hopefully in the near future we can do a race together. He does a bit of car racing. He did Dubai 12 hours, is it? End of last year. So he does a few car races.
He was quick at Valencia in the Ferrari back in 2006.
Back when he was testing.
He tested alongside Michael Schumacher and did a proper job. Really good job.
Before we crack on with more from Lando, I want to know who of you out there is planning to attend the British Grand Prix at Silverstone this year. Because if you are, then you might want to hear this. Match Hospitality, the official hospitality rights holder for the FIFA World Cup, will be developing a full spectrum of hospitality options for Silverstone Circuit's motor racing events this year, and that includes the Formula One British Grand Prix and MotoGP. The hospitality will cater for all budgets and race day experiences, so you can watch the high-speed action unfold at the trackside enclosure, which features a street food menu, drinks and fantastic views of the renowned Cops Corner with a giant screen to enhance all of the drama of the day. Or there's the Ignition Club. This is the location of choice for racing enthusiasts who know their Formula One. And it has incredible views of Silverstone's famous corners with an extensive daily menu including top British cuisine. And the most exclusive hospitality offering at the Formula One Pirelli British Grand Prix 2020 is Apex House, the ultimate dining experience featuring bespoke dishes created by a soon-to-be-announced celebrity chef. How exciting! Just imagine being able to enjoy the enviable views from iconic corners that include Maggots, Beckett's and Stowe. I watched my first British Grand Prix from Beckett's back in 1983, and I've loved that series of corners ever since, not least because it provides one of the greatest challenges that drivers will face on the racing calendar. And it doesn't stop there. The stylish Fusion Lounge includes access to the race day after party, so you can keep the party going for as long as your feet can take it. So, Match Hospitality, hospitality at the home of British motorsport. Book your race day experience at the Formula One British Grand Prix 2020 with Match Hospitality by visiting www.silverstone.co.uk/hospitality. That's silverstone.co.uk/hospitality. Right, let's get back to the final part of our chat with Lando.
Okay, so look, he's the reason you got into motorsport. So a lot of people might then say, why are we not having this conversation in a MotoGP paddock?
Yeah.
Why the car racing and not the bike racing?
Well, so I started on bikes, and I had a little motocross Yamaha when I was much younger. Still got it now, actually. Can't start it for some reason. And I started to do that, and I loved it. I would spend as much time doing that as I could. But I had one little crash. I mean, it was a little crash. It felt a huge crash. And I just tried doing this little jump, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I went over, and I landed on the front wheel, and went over. The bike landed on me, and I was still 7 years old. Scared me. Didn't want to do it. And I kind of stopped for a little while. And then I was watching those races. I started watching a little bit of Formula One as well. But then my dad took my brother and me to Clay Pigeon, which is a local karting track, as the British Championships. And somehow we found out that he found out that it was there. And we went to watch on a Sunday afternoon, just in time for the final. And it was really cool. It's my first thing I went to go and watch. And it was just really cool to see it at that age. And my dad went around asking people if they had any spare suits and boots, because I said I wanted to have a go, but I wasn't allowed. It was a proper race weekend. So he was going around asking people, you got anything spare? You got anything you don't need anymore? And we ended up going away with, I remember a blue Sparko suit, I think it was, and a pair of boots which are way too big for me. And then I had to buy the helmets, and I didn't even think I bought new boots. I think I had to wear the boots which are way too big for me. And that was that. That was my first time, and not long after, I think for my 7th birthday, I got a Bambino go-kart, which I started driving around at home with a little square bit of tarmac where I put some cones out and I would drive around. It was pretty small. But I did that. Loved doing it.
Was it like a lightning strike? Bam, this is what
Yes.
I've never felt this before. And it was sort of first. Was it your first passion in life?
It was. I felt more in control than I ever did in a bike. Well, actually, I had the quad bike before I had the bike, and I loved that. So I loved the 4 wheels actually. And apparently, I was getting too dangerous for it, so my dad sold it without me knowing, and just said it's gone. I felt that was a bit harsh. So I had no more quad biking. Then I got the motorbike, which I don't know how that's really any more safe. So I had the motorbike, and then the quad bike, but then the go-kart. But the car was the best thing. As soon as I jumped in, it just feels more. It's more comfortable. You're sitting down. I just felt more at home straight away, and I loved doing it. And my brother saw how much I loved doing it, and he wanted to have a go, and then he loved doing it, and then.
So you did it together. It was something you and him. A bit of sibling rivalry.
Pretty much. Well, I only raced against him for the first year or so because he's a bit older than me, 4 years.
Who was quicker?
To begin with, he was quicker. He was much quicker, actually, and he was like doing pretty well. And
are you just saying that because they probably listened to this?
No.
Right.
He was when he first started. Just reiterating that. You know, we were racing with George, and at that point we were nobody.
With George Russell, we're talking about.
George Russell, and George was the guy. He was the champion. I don't know if he was the champion, but he was the guy winning races. He was a cool guy. If we ever got to racing, we're like, oh my god, we get to. George overtook me today. It's so cool, and he was. Yeah, that was how we started, not knowing anything. It was just cool to be like on track with George Russell. And he was racing with them, and he did really well in a lot of the races, and I was always a lot further back. But my brother's quite tall, 6 foot something. And that is a disadvantage in karting. But whenever it was wet, and it's an advantage, it's an advantage. Because I was terrible in the wet and I was small. So it was a disadvantage for me. He was really good. He was pole in the European Championships in PFI, which is a karting track in England. Then he was pole in, I think, another European race in La Conca in Italy.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he can do it.
Beating me both of those times. This was in 2014, our final year. And he had 2 poles and I think I had none. So his ratio of...
So why did he stop?
So he didn't enjoy... He liked the social side and the how relaxing karting was. You know, we go out there on a Wednesday and it's a lot of time with a lot of friends, a lot of competitors, but you knew a lot of people.
I'm surprised your folks didn't have social services after them, taking both of their sons out of school on a Tuesday, did you say?
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of drivers doing it, and he really enjoyed how open and fun it was and enjoyment. When you get to car racing, it's a lot more serious, costs a lot more money. You're going a lot quicker, it's more dangerous. And he just didn't enjoy that as much. He loved the karting and didn't enjoy the car racing as much.
Was that easier for you when he wasn't around? Did you prefer being the focus and the...
No, no. It was fun when we're driving together because we're trying to beat each other. It was competition, brotherly competition. It was different when he went away, but it was... by the time we stopped, I was 14. I had a bit more of an idea of what was going on, things I wanted to do. This was the year of doing Ginetta, and he was doing karting. So it was still different, and I just, would start traveling alone, and he wouldn't be there. So it was a bit weird, but then...
Was George Russell a mate back then? Or was he just who...
No, he was more the guy we looked up to.
No, you still have to be mates, I suppose, or not?
No,
can you remember having a barbecue with him? Or
why would he be mates with me? I'm the guy in 15th place and he's winning races. He's not going to want to be mates with me. By the time we got to the end of karting, we were mates. The first few years, we won. We didn't know him at all. But then as we took a few steps up and he was racing abroad and then I started racing abroad, another Brit, then you start to get to know him a bit more and you speak and...
Is he your best mate on the grid now?
George?
Yeah.
Him, Alex, and...
The Brit pack?
Him and Alex, we just know well. We get along really well because of racing last year and kind of going up in karting a little bit together. But then on the side, obviously, Carlos and Max. Those are the group of guys that I speak to mostly. Max, because of doing all the sim racing.
But you raced against Max in karting as well?
Never.
I'm sure I've seen a photograph of you two.
There's two of us, because I won the European Championships that day.
Different
and he
races,
won the European Championships that day, but in seniors.
Okay. So you were in the same paddock, but not the
same paddock, but not in the same category.
Can we talk about those relationships a bit? Because, we're sitting in the McLaren motorhome, and this is where Senna, Prost had their thing going on, and you could also, I think, include Lewis and Fernando Alonso back in 2007, and there's always been a bit of needle, and I find the friendship with Carlos seems genuine.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not. It is. Everything we do is, none of it's acting, none of it's something we're not. We're both just enjoying being where we are, working with each other, and with McLaren, that we're free to just be who we want to be. We don't need to hide or be somewhere we're not, like I think you do see in other teams. From what I've seen of Carlos, he's very different to what he was the last few years.
Have you discussed that? Does he admit that?
I don't know. I haven't.
He feels... I haven't discussed it with him, but just as an observer, he seems very relaxed in this environment.
Yeah.
He seems very relaxed around you.
Yeah.
Whereas at Renault, he had Hulkenberg and
I don't think, you would say the Red Bull... Anyone who's in the Red Bull situation is just tense, I think. Because you always got another driver that's there somewhere. The story of how Red Bull works.
Were you ever tempted? Were you ever asked to become part of that program, the Red Bull program?
No. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I met... no, I don't really know. I met Helmut Marko, actually, after qualifying on pole in Monaco, before being disqualified for having something illegal on the car. I was in Formula Renault, 2016 or 2015. Yeah, 2015 and no, 2016. Yeah, 2016. I was on pole, and my manager got a call from Helmut Marko, and I went to go and see. From our paddock, which is like a mile away from where the track is, all the way to in the paddock of F1. Freaking awesome. Like hardly ever been in there. Onto the Red Bull barge. And I walked in, met him, had a little conversation. I still remember pretty much everything he said.
Oh, go on, do share. I'd imagine he was very generous in his praise.
Yes. He just wanted to kind of know a little bit about me, I guess, and asked me a few questions. How much does a Formula Renault car weigh? I've got no idea. I'm like, I had to come up with a word. I had to come up with something, didn't I? I had to come up with, 400 kilos, 426, and something like that. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, I think I even actually ended up saying I don't really know. And then the next thing he said was, I don't know if I should say it. The next thing he said was, well, Max would know. Max knows everything about the car. And I don't know. I didn't know what to say after that. I was just like, right, okay. I can't really remember what happened, but I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, moving on, kind of thing. I was speechless, and that was about that. That's what.
So no offer.
No offer. No. I was in a good position with what I was doing, and my manager as well looked after a lot of the conversations and stuff like that. And for the best, I think. there might have been something, but I ended up obviously not joining Red Bull, and continuing in the run and the situation I was in at the time, which was just doing well in Formula Renault, ended up winning that. Being a free guy, basically, not getting caught up in the Red Bull. Once you're in, you're on a tight leash with what you can do.
I'm sure Carlos has told you a bit about that.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
For my manager knew for me was the best thing was to be on my own and not be with Red Bull or even another team at the time, because I still had the possibility to go through to F3 and F2 and do that before having to or choosing to join an F1 team.
So, Carlos, you live vaguely close to each other in the UK. Do you hang out?
Not. He's rarely there, to be honest. He lives in Spain still.
That's not what he tells us in the media. I've moved to Woking.
I mean, yes. He's there a lot of the time.
You've just blown his cover.
Shite. He's 50-50. He lives in Spain. He still goes and lives with his family a lot of the time. But I would say he's there a good 2-3 days a week. Always there, obviously, to be at McLaren. So when he's there, he's mostly at McLaren. Normally for the weekends he flies back, and then for the week after he'll come back. So when he is there, we'll play on the sim or go play top golf.
Together, you'll go to the driving range and whack a few balls.
I mean, he's really good at golf.
Yeah, he is.
I'm freaking awful. Oh, yeah? So he has a lot to. He actually helps me quite a bit.
But so what happens when it gets tasty? And let's hope that the McLaren is competitive this year, and you guys are fighting at the sharp end. When it gets a bit tasty on track between you, and you're fighting over the same bit of tarmac, do you envisage a situation where it's going to get out of control, or do you think that the friendship is deep enough for you guys to be able to deal with whatever might come your way?
I know at some point in the future, and this year, it's going to get more tense and more iffy, and we're going to probably fall out a few times in terms of getting frustrated with one another, or he holds me up or something, or I hold him up or something. Not on purpose, because I don't think we'll ever go that far, but you lose out on a position or something because you're racing or you're side by side and you squeeze him and he has to run off, or I have to run off the track. You're going to have something like that, and someone's going to be annoyed about it, and one of us is going to be unhappy. So yes, I think that is going to happen, but I don't know. I don't.
Have you discussed it?
No.
Have you discussed it with Andreas Seidel, team principal?
I think we have a very good. We don't have rules and we don't have team orders, but we have a very good understanding for one another, for our best interests for each other and ourselves, but also the team and what we want to achieve with the team, and obviously hoping to be with McLaren in the future years. And for that is do what we did last year, and we wouldn't have got fourth in the constructors last year. So I can probably say it's better if I say about last year that without working how we did last year and having our own principles and respect for one another and trying to help each other and be a team, we would not have finished fourth in the constructors last year. A lot of good results from him were, let's say, helped by me, and a lot of my results, which were good, were helped by him. So we've worked really well together, and I think that's been very beneficial for us. And of course, that's more what I meant by, if we can stay with McLaren, that's our goal. Is we want to be winning races. We don't want to just be P8, P9 like we were last year. We want to be winning and doing even better. So for each other and coming into this year, I think we did the best job we could to work together.
How confident are you of getting another year out of McLaren? At least another year?
I don't know. It's a difficult question because...
Does it weigh on your mind?
No, not yet. Probably will coming later on in the season. At the moment, I just need to just do what I did last year, pretty much. I think that was a good start. There's things I need to work on for them to be very confident. But they give me confidence, and they're honest, and they say what I'm good and what I need to do better on. which is very good, and that gives me the ability to work on those things and be a more complete and better driver. And as long as I work on that, I think I've proven a lot of reasons why I should be able to stay, and given that little bit more time to work on these small things, but at the same time that I've done a good enough job last season already, knowing that I'll probably only improve to stay with the team.
So Max Verstappen is also a mate, you say?
Yeah.
He's also a teammate, isn't he? Team
Yes,
Redline.
he is.
Who's quicker? We're talking about e-racing now.
This is tough. We're very similar, in fact. It ends up coming down to who spends the most time on the simulator. And we're both very committed to spending a lot of time on the simulator, testing and putting in laps. He's the same as me, I think, in terms of when he wants to do something well, he spends a lot of time trying to be perfect at it. Especially when it comes down to the driving and to racing. So,
housework.
I don't know about that. I don't know. A glorious life in Monaco. No, I'm not too sure, but we both push each other, and we're both very competitive when it comes to driving on the simulator. We both want to beat each other just as much as normal and as driving an F1 car. So yeah, it's good. It's just competition, but again, we've not raced each other on the actual track yet. So,
what about Lewis Hamilton? How are relations with him? How well do you know him?
I don't know him. Let's say I've only really seen what you've seen.
Do you chat when you're on the bus going around waving at the crowd before the race?
No, he normally has his headphones in and he's on his own. So I don't think he really speaks to anyone normally.
Did he talk to you at the start? I
wished him Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
In Abu Dhabi, you said?
No,
that?
I mean I texted him.
Oh, okay.
I've got his number. And I can
all right.
Sell it.
And did you get a reply?
I did, and he wished me back.
Yeah.
I don't know if it said Merry Christmas.
I remember Michael Schumacher always used to make a thing out of getting to know all of the drivers on the grid. So a new guy, Pedro de la Rosa, used to say his first race in 1999 in Melbourne, the person who opened the door of the hotel for him, the Crown Towers in Melbourne, was Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
And they had a chat, and Michael introduced himself. There was none of that from Lewis towards you.
No, it's more.
No.
Oh yeah, how are you doing? Then he's off.
Right. Okay. So what about the press conference at Silverstone last year? Then Lewis was in that press conference. Daniel Ricciardo.
You
was
were
in
there
that.
as well.
Yeah, I was. I remember it vividly. I mean, that was funny.
Yeah.
Can you share the joke now? 6 months.
Everyone knows the joke. You should know. It was in the script. I
can't remember the joke. You'll have to tell me again.
All right. I can't remember what was going on. I was talking about moustaches, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Yeah.
And how Lewis can grow one very well. And I said, yeah, I've been growing one for 19 years. Still not going so strong. And then Daniel peered over to his left and was have you even got pubes yet? And as a joke, I answered no, but just between me and him. So no one could really hear. You can only see us saying it after. And nothing happened for a few seconds. And when you're in school and you got your mates that kind of made you laugh, but you're trying to concentrate, and then you look up, but you just see him giggling, and then you can't help yourself but just laugh. It was that situation, and we was talking about it. And Danny's he's a funny guy, and I kind of looked back over, and I just couldn't stop laughing. Yeah. My jaw was hurting. I was laughing.
It was so. It was. I couldn't ask you another question as the MC, could I? You were gone.
No,
gone. The man was gone
completely.
But I love that you're just so relaxed in this environment.
Yeah.
That's what I took away from that press conference, is that this guy Lando Norris. There are a lot of people who are quite nervous before that kind of thing, and yet you're just so easy with the whole thing. It's like.
Well, I mean, I'm nervous. I need to answer the questions right. I can't just say whatever. I still need to be a little bit within the sponsors and team and what our goals are and everything like that. So I still you still need to talk a little bit about. You have to still be a team player kind of thing, and say what you should say and not say what you shouldn't say. But so I'm still nervous about that, and it's live TV and everything. You don't want to mess up, make a fool of yourself like I did.
Oh no!
But it's still like still trying to be normal and just you, and then him making you laugh. It's still just that's what happens. And if we weren't in that situation, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have been as funny. I think it was just funny that we're in front of like a live TV and you're asking the questions, and it just situation made it even worse. But
you got McLaren a few headlines that day. But
I did. It was all part of the plan. It was all part of my script.
Yeah. Now look, there's one last area I just wanted to ask you about, and that is the whole sort of social media thing.
Yep.
And how close is the virtual Lando, the guy that we see on Instagram and twitching and all these sorts of things? How close is that person to the virtual? How close is the virtual Lando to the real Lando?
To me, well, I think what you see on Twitch is just me. I mean, it's just me with a camera in front of me.
Why do you do that?
It's just good fun. If I'm spending those 36 hours playing on my computer or whatever it was, I would never do that solo. I couldn't just spend that time on my own. I normally play with some friends, or I'm, playing with some other drivers, or playing with some people I know. But at the same time, if no one else is on or wants to play, then I stream, and you can just interact with your viewers. With my not viewers, my fans, and people that want to see a normal me, a normal driver that sits at home and plays on a computer like a normal person, and that it's not. I'm not some hero that just magically drives an F1 car, and everything I do is like something that they could dream of doing. I still just sit at home and play on my computer. So I know it's just good fun, and it creates a lot of laughs a lot of the time, because you have people saying stuff, and I'm chatting with people online, but you're just answering questions. They create challenges. You can make people's day by you can do giveaways, you can do whatever. That's where I started my merch, actually. That's where I started all of it. It's another way of giving my fans more interaction with me. It's also just because I get a bit bored sometimes.
You spoke at the launch of the MCL 35 about some negativity you've got.
Yeah.
Do you feel very vulnerable, very exposed in your position as a Formula One driver who tries to interact and give back to the fans?
Yeah.
Do you feel exposed?
I guess you do a little bit. You do. A lot of me, I don't care about, and I'm not that fussed about what people say.
What kind of things do people say?
It's just a lot of stuff. It doesn't even have to be horrendous, but it can.
Does it get very personal, or is it just Ferrari fans saying, "Oh, I don't like McLaren"?
No, like that. I don't care at all about what those people would say. I mean, that's just their own opinion about the team, and that's fine. But if it's more personal stuff, you just get people that talk about, say, my family, or my dad, or things that they literally don't have a clue about, and they think that they have an idea, and they're saying stuff, a lot of it's personal about my family or something. Then that's what gets to me a bit more.
Do you reply? Do you engage with these people?
No, I don't. I never do that. Oh. I mean, a lot of the time I just laugh, and I love seeing what people can come up with and where they get these ideas from.
Yeah.
So I love seeing that sometimes, but there's still some things, and it's more than about what people see as in me. So the thing that I said I was going to change with social media was I make these jokes and I post them online, and I have fun, and I don't just post about Formula One cars like you get a lot of drivers. Not obviously a lot of drivers, like some of the drivers do. But I post a lot about fun and what I do at home and stuff like that, which, again, then not all my fans want to see. A lot of them just want to see McLaren and me winning and stuff like that, which I'm still fine with. But the thing is, if I make a mistake or I've done something, then they see that the day before I posted something funny, I joke. For some reason, and which I think is normal for a human, but you see that and they think the reason I would have made that mistake is because, you know, they've not seen any other driver post a joke or something funny on social media. And I'm the only, like, one of the only ones, or I think I was one of very few, or the only one. I think everyone's changed a bit now. That did something like that, and post a joke and so on. They use that as the excuse for why I would have made that mistake in qualifying, or why I made the mistake in the race. Like, you know, you're not concentrating enough, you're not focusing on the right thing. Maybe you should stop making all these jokes and stuff like that. Which again, I'm completely fine with. I don't get stressed about that or worry about it. But it's just, I'd rather not see it. And without having to change who I am, because I'm not going to do anything like that. It's just, choose a bit more specifically when I post jokes and stuff like that, and memes, and post more relaxing stuff, and post a bit more about me working with my engineers and going for a run and being in the gym, just so that I still show them a little bit more that I'm hardworking and that I do my best I can in Formula One, and it's not all just fun and jokes and stuff like that.
It's sort of perception.
It's just the whole perception of
you've got to have, you feel,
who I am.
But isn't that?
And I'm fine with what a lot of people.
I feel that's. Do you feel that's sad that you feel you have to give the perception that you're hardworking and training when you know you're doing that?
No, because it's something so small. I think, like, I'm not changing anything who I am. I'm just posting like what times and how often I post about something funny, which is like so easy to do. It's not like I have to go and spend so much time thinking, right, I can't do this now and I have to not be me. It's just, I don't post it until after the weekend. Simple as that. Or something like that. It's just something small, which I don't think that's sad because it's so small. But if it gets to the point where I'm like, I just can't be me and so on, then that's the sad point. But I'm not anything like that. I find the humour in a lot of the hate that I get.
I feel sad listening to you describe it like that. But well, look, let's end on a positive note.
Yes.
By the way, the chicken still hasn't been touched.
It is still there. It's not been even touched.
We predicted that, didn't we? We predicted that the chicken was going to be touched. But look, final thoughts then. What have I got? Go on, McLaren's chances in 2020.
Yep.
Is it, you know, Carlos got a podium last year. Is that, if I was to sit down with you after Abu Dhabi, how would you sum up a successful season?
I would sum up a successful season by... Well, as a team, I'd say successful is by simply doing a better job than we did last season, by making the most of more of the opportunities and mistakes by the top three teams, being there more when it counts, less problems with reliability, which is within our hands. As a team, I think that's our goal. It's just to take another step forward, gather even more understanding for next year, but at the same time, still try and get even better results throughout the year. Get more of those P4s or P5s even, and if we can, get the podium. But with the podiums, I think we'll need a bit of luck. From my side, is to work on those areas which I struggled in last year, and I know I wasn't good enough in. And such as the race, right. In a simple term, the race. But on top of, the communication, the tire saving, fuel saving, strategy, again, not being the yes man and just going, yeah, okay, I'll do this, but being proactive in thinking, right, actually, I want to stay out. I don't want to do a 2-stop. I want to do a 1-stop, or guys, I think we need to change to the 2-stop, and coming up with my own ideas a bit more. But then doing a better job at tire saving, more efficient, and all these little things. I mean,
all comes with confidence, right?
They do. And already in the test and the last few days, I feel like I've done a much better job in a few of those areas, which has already made me more confident and happier. But position-wise, personally, there's nothing I want to achieve or can set my goal for in terms of I want to get a P4 this season or anything. I'd love to get a podium. That would be nice. But for myself, is to work on my weaknesses and just do what I did last season, which was my best. And
enjoy it. And
yeah.
new contract in your back pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's another one. Make sure I'm here next year.
Lando, best of luck with everything. What a great chat. Thank you so much for your time.
Been a pleasure.
All right, see you soon.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much.
Bye.
F1 needs more Landos. He's funny, he's irreverent, and he's bloody quick. I found that a fascinating chat. There's so much more going on under the surface than his social media persona suggests. This is a man who lives and breathes motor racing. Let's hope this year's McLaren MCL 35 allows him to fight at the front on a regular basis, and he gets rewarded with another contract for 2021. And if ever your cleaning fetish gets too much for you, Lando, you know who to call. A big thanks for your time, and to McLaren for their fantastic hospitality. Well, that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, we'd love it if you'd rate and review the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Beyond the Grid, we're on Apple, Spotify, and all your favourite podcast apps. And we're going to be back next week with another spectacular guest from the world of Formula One. In the meantime, if you want to drop me a message about the show, I'm at Tom Clarkson F1 on Twitter, or you can use the hashtag F1 Beyond the Grid. We really do love your comments, and we read them all. Beyond the Grid is produced by F1 in association with Audio Boom. Until next time, keep it flat out.